This is Between the Breaks
Real talk, right between the breaks.
with Brooke Hunter and Kadie Daye.
So I want to hear about your birthday weekend.
It was fun.
And your boyfriend, he had a good time here in Valpo. I mean, I know he goes to school at Purdue, right?
Yeah, but he lives in Buffalo, New York usually.
Yeah.
So he's back there now. He went back for the summer. And I didn't think he was going to come here for my birthday. So he flew here for that.
So I want to know, what did he give you? Because you were saying on Friday that when he got off the plane, like he had all these gifts.
Yeah.
Right?
He actually had so many gifts that he got trapped in the revolving door.
It's so funny.
At like security or something.
Okay, so what did he give you?
Okay, so I specifically asked for this because he goes to Purdue, right? He's in grad school there, but I have never been a Purdue fan. It's very IU versus Purdue or Notre Dame, Ball State, you know? Yeah. So I've always been like IU when it comes to the rivalry. And I said, if you get me a Purdue girlfriend shirt, I will wear it.
Which they actually have.
They apparently have, because I have it now.
Okay.
And he got me this Purdue beanie, and I love beanies. Like, I have probably more beanies than most people.
Okay.
Probably anyone in the region combined. I've got like...
I've seen you wear beanies before.
Yeah, I've got quite a few. And then he made me this photo album, which is pretty sweet. And I love when he does it because he'll write like a description for the photo, like something I forget about for the day.
Yeah.
Like, for example, he put a skiing photo in there from this past winter, and it said, "Couldn't stop laughing about the guy who fell taking our picture." Like something I forgot about that happened, but yeah.
Okay. And I know that you did because we're friends on Facebook. I know that you took a candle with you to everywhere you went. So how many places do you think you went to where your boyfriend was lighting the candle in the video that I saw?
Yeah, sometimes he would light it. Sometimes my dad would light the candle. My mom,
So how many places do you think you went to?
I went to like 3 or 4 places, but
that's not too bad.
Every food item or drink I consumed,
you had to put a candle in it.
Yeah, so Starbucks gives you a free birthday drink, candle in that.
Okay.
I got a milkshake from Shoop Slater, candle in that. I got soup. I put enough crackers in the soup.
I was going to say, did you get like a life ring for the candle? But it was the crackers that held it up?
Yep, the crackers studied that. And then I had a macaroon because it's National Macaroon Day.
That was the one I saw, was the candle and the macaroon.
Yeah.
Those look really good. Did you get those from, is it Bow's?
I got them from Bow's.
Okay.
And I went in there and I said, you know what day it is? And they did not know. I said, it's National Macaroon Day.
Oh, they didn't know that?
No, I told them, and they said, are you kidding? I was like, I'm not kidding because it's my birthday and I know.
So for your birthday, did it give you free macaroons?
No.
Oh. That's
okay, though.
That's okay.
It's okay.
Yeah.
They entertained me as I made a decision, which took a while. So
you had a great birthday weekend. And now your boyfriend, did you have to drive back to O'Hare yesterday?
I did. Ugh. That was sad.
Yeah. What time did you go, like in the afternoon, morning?
And his flight was at 8:30 at night.
Oh, you have to be super tired today.
Oh, yeah. Plus the ride there is an hour and a half with the traffic and stuff.
Yeah.
So on the way there, we would be laughing, then we'd be crying.
And as I recall, like mid-afternoon on, when you're heading from Northwest Indiana into Illinois and Chicago, you have all the Chicagoans who were vacationing for the weekend in like Michigan, so there's a bunch of traffic usually. It's pretty heavy traffic.
So coming out of O'Hare was actually worse.
Really?
Yeah, it was pretty bad. Like I think I went 5 miles per hour for like 20 minutes.
Well, there's nothing like the Kennedy Expressway.
Nope.
It's just like a fresh layer of hell right there.
Yeah, so that was fun.
I'm glad, though, that you had a good weekend.
What did you do?
What did I do? Nothing as exciting as you. I did my laundry. I went grocery shopping. Oh, you know what? So I really want to get little Freddie Mercury a buddy.
Yeah.
And so I found this little dog. It's another Chihuahua. Now, Freddie's going to be 1 in July. On July 18th, he turns 1.
Coming up.
This dog that I found is at an animal shelter. He's 3. He's the same coloring as Freddie. And tomorrow I'm going to go and meet him.
Aw, nice.
And I think I'm going to take Freddie, too, because I want to make sure that number one, I hope the dog likes me, but I want to make sure that the 2 dogs get along.
Right.
You know, but
I didn't know that you could bring your dog to the animal shelter.
No, you can.
That makes a lot of sense,
You can. You can do it at Porter County Animal Shelter. You can do it at the Hobart Humane Society. Most animal shelters I've adopted from Paws Chicago before, they require you to bring any pets to make sure that they get along with the potential pet that you want to adopt or, potentially adopt. So tomorrow I'm going to go meet this little dude.
Nice.
So here's something. Think of, and this is for anyone who's listening, but Kadie, I'm directing this at you. Think of a good boy's name that begins with a B.
B.
And you don't have to tell me now. Like, tell me tomorrow. But
Okay.
and when I name a dog, I always like to name them human names. And the reason I do that is because if I'm out in public, I don't want to be like, oh, well, I gotta get home to Fluffy. It's easier to say, oh, you know what? I gotta go home. Freddie's expecting me. They don't know Freddie's a dog.
You're right. That's
You
your
know?
out. That's your if I need to leave.
Well, or just anytime like a pet comes up in conversation, so they're not like, oh, well, she's like a psycho pet person,
Right.
If it's a person, a human name, a human sounding name, then they'll find out down the road maybe I'm psycho, but right then and there they're not going to because I'm talking about someone they think might just be a person.
I don't think you're a
animal.
psycho animal person. That actually makes you more likable, I think.
Well, I think people who love animals and love kids, I mean, if they don't, you got to be like, whoa, what's going on?
What's going on with you?
But anyway, so yeah, just put that in the hopper.
Okay, yeah, because the first one I thought of, I'm going to need to work on that.
Okay.
It's not a good name, the first one.
Okay.
No, wait. Okay, now I feel like I have to say it because there's a B bad word. But I was going to say Brock, but I think that...
Brock?
Yeah, we need to work on that.
Yeah.
I'll get back to you.
Okay, yeah, get back to me. Let me know
Okay.
tomorrow. And, the other thing is, I don't even know that I'm going to adopt this little guy. And... I need to, if I do adopt him, I need to meet him. You know how you have to meet someone to like figure out a name?
Yeah.
It's like when I knew what I was going to name my son because his name is my maiden name. But typically when you have a child, like you want to be able to see that child. You have some names in mind, but you might not settle on one until you actually meet face to face. Same thing goes for me, at least, with a dog or a cat.
Well, that's true. And I think like when you meet people too and you find out their name, you can kind of be like, all right, you kind of look like an Abby. Or,
Right.
So when you
Yeah.
meet the Chihuahua tomorrow,
Yeah.
you might be able to be like, okay, this is a insert name here.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, but, in the meantime, if you just are having some free time, think about some
I'll brainstorm.
boys' B names.
Okay.
All right.
Human-ish names.
Yeah.
Between the breaks.
You say that your mom has a pool, right? Do you think you'll get in the pool today?
Yes. I got in the pool one time during a tornado watch.
Really?
Don't
tornado
recommend.
watch is fine. It's not a warning.
I thought the warning was worse. Whatever's the worst
No,
one.
warning is worse than watch.
The tornado warning.
Okay.
The sky was green. We should not
Yeah.
have been in the pool.
When I was a kid, growing up in Kansas City, we had a lot of tornado warnings, and we had this patio, and when the sky would get green and it'd get real creepy outside, we'd go outside and just watch.
I feel like everyone does that. That's used
Yeah.
to tornadoes. And then anyone else who's not experienced a tornado, because I lived in New York for 4
Right.
years. When I was going to school in Wheeler, in the region here, we had to take tornado drills.
Yeah, we had them in school when I was a
We
kid.
did, right.
Yeah.
They don't have that in New York.
No.
They were like, what do you mean tornado drill?
But then if you go on the West Coast, you've got earthquake drills.
Right. And we didn't have those.
You know what's funny? My ex-husband is from the East Coast. He's from New Hampshire. Mm-hmm. And so if there's ever a tornado warning, guy is the first one in the basement. Like, he is petrified. And so my son, he's obsessed. Like, he wants to go chase him.
Right.
And whenever the weather gets bad, he's like, come on, Mom, let's just get in the car. Let's, like, drive to Iowa. And I'm like, no. But my ex-husband is the total opposite. Like, he will be the first one in the basement, and he'll leave the rest of us behind.
Well, the people that aren't used to it can be scary. But then
Yeah.
I just saw this. Did you see this picture that went viral of this couple? I believe it might have been in Kansas, actually, or Missouri, one of the two. But this couple, they went and they heard there was a tornado warning. They chased the tornado, and then he popped the question to her.
No.
And then
really?
the background picture is really kind of cool because you can see the funnel behind them. And obviously they got engaged. She said yes.
There was I think it's on Netflix. There was this really, really bad tornado in a small town called Joplin, Missouri. And this was I think it was like maybe 10 or 15 years ago. Anyway, they just released a documentary on it. And the day that it happened, the high school, the town high school was holding its graduation. And they had that perspective. They had it from like store owners, just kids who were out of school, who were just hanging out. But they all at some point shot video. And so you have video. I mean, it is the scariest thing ever. And this was, I think it was an EF5, which is the largest tornado.
Let's see how fast that is wind-wise.
I want to say up in the 200s.
It's exceeding 200 miles per hour. Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's called The Tornado. And I watched it with my son because he's so obsessed with tornadoes. And Joplin is not too far from Kansas City. And he's like, Mom. He's like, have you ever been there? I'm like, well, yeah, but it was years and years before, this tornado hit. But yeah, tornadoes are crazy. And it's one of those things, I think if you grew up in the Midwest, as a child, you had tornado drills in school. Like, did you have to get under your desk and then put your hands over your head?
Yeah, and then my 6th grade teacher, Mrs. Harbor, who I think is retired now.
Okay. Hi, Mrs. Harbor.
Hi, Mrs. Harbor. I think she lives out of Michigan City, so hello.
Okay.
But she told us to grab our textbooks and put them behind the back of our head. And if we didn't hold tight enough, our heads would be rolling. That unleashed a new fear.
Yeah, that doesn't instill fear at all, but I do understand why she would say that.
I took them very seriously from then on.
They didn't have us do that. They just had us get under our desks.
Yeah. She made me take it very seriously after that.
Yeah.
When she said that, I took every drill serious as if it was happening.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we had, I think in Missouri, we had tornado drills probably as often as we had fire drills.
Yeah.
We had them a lot.
I mean, I think, yeah. We didn't really have them in college, though.
No, we didn't have them in college. I remember them. I don't even remember them in high school. I remember them in grade school.
Oh, okay.
Like 2nd, 3rd grade.
I remember middle school, too, and high school.
Yeah.
It was very serious.
Oh,
But
yeah.
They don't really,
We never had to put that knowledge to use, though, while I was in school. Like,
right. Well, also another thing is we used to take it was probably like every year the 5th graders would go to the fire department, which was right across the street from my elementary school, and we'd have to learn how to stop, drop, and roll. I really thought I was going to have to stop, drop, and roll a lot more than I have in my life, which is a total of 0 times, but I guess I'm lucky.
You're we're both very lucky because I haven't had to do that either.
Yeah. I thought I was going to be on fire a lot, though.
When, I'm trying to think. We didn't go visit the fire department when I was in school, but when I was a kid, my brother, who's 3 years younger than me, his best friend lived next door to us. And we had these really big yards. And so we always did this in our neighbors. We liked to build forts out of, sticks and leaves and, occasionally like old towels and stuff. And then we like to light them on fire, burn them down, and then rebuild them. Whoa. So my mother and my neighbor's mother I got a couple little pyros going on here. So they, on a weekend, actually took us to a fire department, and we got a tour, and we got a talking to.
Oh, an
by
intervention?
the firefighters. So it was kind of an intervention, yeah.
Did it stop you guys?
No.
Between the breaks.
Yesterday, you know this because I sent you a text last night or last evening. I adopted a little baby.
You did?
Yeah. So I took Freddie. Oh, my car right now is like covered in hair.
I'm sure.
Freddie is a short-haired Chihuahua, but he was getting all freaked out because we were going in the car, didn't know where we were going. And we went to the shelter because I'd seen this little Chihuahua. I can't believe this guy was at a shelter.
Well, you said he was only like 3 years old.
He's 3. I don't, you never know the backstory really of animals in shelters. And it doesn't matter, but he looks like he's purebred. I don't know.
Right.
And so I took Freddie to meet him, and they're kind of the same color. So, we went over there. Freddie was all excited to meet him. I was like, yeah, okay, we're going to adopt him. So we brought him home. Freddie is like just out of his tree jealous.
Well, was he at first okay because he thought he was just a friend?
I think he thought we were just going there to play.
Yeah, and then when he came home and he's like, oh, you're my brother now?
Yeah.
Things changed.
Yeah. So yeah, Freddie, I have this it's like an end table, and it's over in one of the corners of my living room, kind of at an angle, so just enough room for Freddie to go back there and sit. So he goes back there and he sits, and he's just sulking back there. I was like, aww. Seriously? So, and I mean, the thing is, yes, he was an only dog for the first 10 months of his, or 7 months that I had him, and I know that he's going to really like having a companion. But right now it's a little rough.
Oh, yeah. He's like, surprise, I have a brother. Plus, you said they're kind of similar in fur coat.
Yes.
So you don't want to mix them up.
Oh, no, I won't.
That'll make Freddie really jealous.
Well, Freddie has less brown.
Okay.
So, I told you, so I don't know. I haven't, married myself to the name, but I think I'm going to name him Lenny.
Lenny, okay.
Lenny, after the late, great Len Dawson, who was, other than Patrick Mahomes, like probably the best quarterback for the Kansas City Chiefs. So I think that's what I'm going to name him. Lenny and Freddie.
Because you're from Kansas City originally.
Yeah.
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 That makes sense why you'd be a Chiefs fan.
And then I told you, because we have a mutual friend who's also a big Chiefs fan, I'm like, just ask Rob. He'll know exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I have bad news. I texted him.
Yeah.
I said, hey, do you know Lenny Dawson? And he goes, it might sound familiar. What do I get if I tell you? And I didn't know who he was.
No, Rob knows. Rob was just yanking your chain.
Well, so then I texted him and I said, I don't know, a picture of a dog. So I was going to send him a picture of Lenny. Uh-huh. I just mixed them up. Oops. And then he was like, haha, okay, I'll think about it. And he never told me who he was.
He knows. I know he knows because he is a hardcore Chiefs fan.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, I'm going to go home today and see what the landscape is like at my house when I get there. You know, I didn't get a lot of sleep. I didn't get a nap in yesterday because, you know, going to the shelter and like doing the whole adoption thing, it does take time.
Well, and you also basically brought home another toddler.
I did.
Yeah.
I did.
And I love your strategy, though, of how you decide to name your dogs. You choose human-like names. Totally. Because that way, if you need to get out of a conversation, you could be like, sorry, Freddie and Lenny are waiting for me.
Yeah, they're waiting for me in the car. I gotta go. So, yeah, that's the way I do it. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but yeah, that's what I do.
It's a good out to have because I have to do the Irish goodbye because I get caught in the conversation. I'll be like, okay, bye. And I'll end up walking them to their car. Then we have another conversation when we get to the car. And then I'm in the car. And I'm going down the road. I don't like that. Like,
when I'm out, I'm out.
Yeah, you Irish goodbye.
Is that where you just kind of sneak away?
Yeah, you just don't say anything.
That's totally
And then suddenly you're gone.
Yeah. Where did she go? I don't know.
Between the breaks.
Did I tell you they haven't opened the pool in my apartment complex yet?
Why not?
Well, it was supposed to be open Memorial Day weekend because that's when most pools open. Apparently, they're getting new furniture and there are parts to the pool, but how long is that going to take? I mean, here we are. It's the 5th of June, and I'm not saying today's a pool day, but I think the end of next week is going to be pool weather.
Oh, it's supposed to be sunny all next week.
Yeah.
And it's supposed to, it'll rain a little bit later this week, but then it's going to clear up real nice.
They still haven't opened it. And I just have this gut feeling I don't think they're in like a huge rush. I could be wrong.
That's ridiculous.
Isn't
so
that weird?
Hold on, though. It's an outdoor pool, right? Okay. And it only is open seasonally.
Correct.
So when you pay for your apartment, those facilities are obviously included in the price that you pay for your apartment.
Yes.
That's ridiculous. They should give everyone a discount until they open up the pool.
They won't. And here's the other thing I was thinking. If you knew you were going to buy new furniture, and if you knew there were parts that were needed for the pool, why wouldn't you have thought about this back in like February?
Right.
Plan
and that's
ahead.
also when they're cheaper.
Yes.
So buying them Memorial Day weekend or the week of Memorial Day.
Or I don't know when, but, you know, not in the wintertime, let's put it that way. Because even if you were to buy new furniture for the pool, it's not going to take 3 months for it to get here.
Exactly. That's why they sell winter coats in the summer. And they're super cheap.
And boots and everything else. So, yeah, I'm kind of bummed.
I would write an email, though I can be confrontational sometimes.
Well, no, because, I mean, I actually spoke face-to-face with my manager.
Oh, okay.
The apartment manager. So I don't want to, fan the flames. I mean, and I wasn't rude about it. I was just asking, oh, by the way, when's the pool going to be open? She said, I don't really know. You know, I ordered some furniture, and there are a couple parts that we need. I mean, under my breath, I'm like, why didn't you do this a long time ago? But I didn't say anything.
Okay, so are the lawn chairs open by the pool? Like, could you sit on a lawn chair?
No, because there's no furniture.
I would take my own lawn chair, and I would sit right outside the gate of the pool with a thing on my poster that says, open the pool on strike.
And you know, the other thing, it's probably because they need parts, but the pool's not even filled yet. There's no water in the pool.
That's going to take a few days in itself.
Right, because it's got to warm up. Well, I mean, I don't know how long it takes to fill the pool. It doesn't take more than a day.
Right. But the chlorine and stuff.
Yes, you got to get the chemical balance all right and all that stuff.
If they try to fill it this week, I mean, just let the rainwater do most of the job. I mean, help yourself out there. No, I'm just kidding.
I'm just bummed, though. I wanted the pool to be open. I mean, like I said, today's not a pool day, but next week will be, and I just have a feeling by next week it's still not going to be open.
You could be one of those people that gets the inflatable kiddie pools and just kind of like sits in it.
You know what? I was at Aldi the other day, and they just had one of the little plastic kiddie pools.
Exactly.
And I would totally do that, except that I live on the second floor and it's a wooden balcony, and I don't know how much weight it could actually hold.
Oh, no. You don't want to go tumbling over.
No. But I did think about it. It crossed my mind for sure.
There was a girl that did that in my old apartment. It was a very busy street, and she would go swimming, and then she would, like, bikini tan in the yard, the front yard.
Not the back. I do in the backyard.
It
not
wasn't
front yard.
gated either. So, like, the front yard, if you were, like, walking a dog.
You would totally see her.
Oh, my. Yeah, she's right there. No,
I couldn't do that.
concerns.
I'd be too embarrassed. But, I mean, if I had a backyard, like the backyard I had at my house when I owned a house, it was totally fenced in. It had, like, a privacy fence. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, that's different.
Yeah.
But
and you have a pool at your mom's house.
I do.
Have you been in it yet this year?
Yes, and it's open. I didn't really go too far in because I'm still on crutches.
Right.
But or a crutch.
Nonetheless, you still got to go in the pool.
Yeah.
All right. Well, next week you'll probably be able to get back in.
Hopefully.
Between the breaks.
Kadie, TGIF. We made it.
Yes, we're here. And it's National Donut Day.
I know.
Make
I
it
was
a little
talking
better.
about that earlier. That's awesome. So you had a visitor today. Oh my gosh. Do you hear the text message on my phone?
Your text tone actually scares me.
Well, it's from Law & Order SVU.
Oh.
The dun-dun.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
That's why it's so serious.
That's why I have it on there. But I that was like my favorite show, but now all of a sudden I'm just kind of lost interest in it. So I'm thinking that maybe I need to get a new text tone. I don't know, but I'm so used to that one. But you had a guest today.
I did. And speaking of being scared, I got startled by Rhonda, who's like one of our people in like the office.
In the office, yeah.
And she comes into the studio and I'm like, whoa, like, what's going on? I was like, geez, like, where are you going?
Yeah.
And so anyway, she goes, someone's here for you. I'm like, who? What? Because you never know who that is. And she goes,
Well, and also it's early in the morning.
yeah. So I'm like, who? And so she's like, just come with me. And I'm like, come with you? Like, you're not going to. Anyway, it's my dad. He brought me
I thought
coffee.
that was awesome, though, because you, I don't know when yesterday, but you posted a video of you and your dad.
Yeah.
On Facebook, and I don't really comment very often on Facebook. Your dad should come in, and I thought that you had invited him to come in today, but he just showed up randomly.
No,
right?
I guess he texted me and he goes, should I bring you a donut and a coffee for
And you
National
didn't see the
Donut Day?
text?
And I said, haha, good one. I thought he was kidding.
Oh, okay.
And then all of a sudden I had a visitor and I totally didn't even think it was him.
Was it a good donut?
Yeah. Rise and Roll is doing their caramel cinnamon.
I love Rise and Roll.
Their rings. If you go today, you get a free one.
Really?
As long as supplies last. But they
Okay.
probably are going to run out any minute now.
Yeah, that is one of my favorite bakeries.
So good.
Yeah, they have awesome, not just donuts, but they have really, really good jams too.
Jams? Oh, I have to try that.
They have
Love
all
jams.
sorts, like on the wall in there. They've got, like if you like dill pickles. I haven't tried the dill pickles, but I want to try them because everything else I've had there has been just awesome.
Like they can their own pickles or they jar it?
They're jarred. Yeah.
That's amazing. You know, one time the local farmers markets are pretty.
I love going to farmers market.
It's so good. There's a few this weekend happening in the
really?
region. Yeah, I want to say there's one in Chesterton. I think there might be one in Valpo too.
Been to the European market.
Yeah, that's happening this weekend.
Okay. So
there-
it's back up.
Yes.
Again.
There's a few things happening for like where you can find local artisans and farmers and
Right.
stuff. So there's one thing though that I had from a farmer's market that I've never been able to find that tastes the same.
What?
It was these deviled it was these beet eggs. They were deviled beet eggs.
Oh, wait. So, I mean, do you mean like,
They're pink.
Yeah.
They're so
They're
good.
pickled. They're
Yeah,
pickled
not
eggs.
Not deviled.
They're pickled eggs. So I've never tried one of those. I do love pickled beets. Pickled beets are really good.
Yeah.
The only time that I have seen pickled eggs has been like when I'm driving in the South and you stop off at like a gas station. A lot of times they'll have a big jar up at the desk, like by the cash register, and it's pickled eggs.
They're so good.
Are they?
Yeah.
See, I don't like eggs.
I was in You don't like eggs?
I think eggs are the most disgusting food ever.
They're the most universal food. You can eat so many different ways. I ate eggs this morning.
I can't do it. My son loves eggs. I make him eggs. I use eggs when I make cookies and brownies. I just think that like an egg over easy or scrambled egg, it comes in a shell.
Yeah.
And that's just creepy. And they're slimy.
Okay, what if it was just the egg whites?
You know, I've never tried that. I might be able to do that. It's the yolk. But I also know the yolk is where all the nutrients are.
Right.
So.
Well, I mean, eggs are protein, and like you're probably still getting decent protein from the egg whites.
I don't know. Anyway, I'm sorry. I got off on a tangent. So
It's
you
okay.
had an egg. You had an egg this morning, but you've
did.
never tried pickled eggs.
No, I have.
Oh, you have.
I
tried
got them once because it was the only thing I could survive on.
Where were you?
I was out in like the woods with my friend, and we were at this cabin, like on this Airbnb farmland, and they had no electricity, no bathroom. It was no heat. It was in the middle of like
That's awful.
Like it was early winter, late fall, and so we decided we needed to go get something that could hold. So we went to the local farmers market, like up the street, the only thing in sight, and we got these pickled beet eggs, and that's what we survived on all night.
Wow.
We didn't know there was no fridge or no electricity, but it was fun.
Okay, thank goodness you're back home, and the region, like you said, has several farmers markets this week, and maybe you can find the pickled eggs.
Maybe.
Or better yet, why don't you learn how to pickle eggs?
I could. I don't know. I don't have best luck with like anything. Next week is apparently Kitchen Klutzes of America Day. I think it's June 13th.
I am no Martha Stewart, but I'm telling you, when it comes to cooking, it's all about following directions. That's as simple as that.
Maybe that's my problem.
Like follow, and I mean, if you vary a little bit, that's okay if you're confident doing that. But if you're not, you just go along and follow exactly as it says in your recipe. You'll be fine.
My problem is I try to skip steps.
No, you can't do that.
Well, I'll be like, oh, okay, and then now you mix them, but then you shouldn't mix them until you do this other thing, and then you mix. Yeah,
I know.
So that's my problem.
All right, well, I'm going to get out of here. I actually later today I'm going to be at Market on the Square at Founders Square in Founders Square Park in Portage.
Yes.
From 4 to 6. So I'm going to go out there. I don't know that they will have pickled eggs, but I will text you if they do.
Yeah, I know you won't be eating them.
No, but they do have food trucks.
Oh yeah, they got a lot going on out
Yeah,
there.
they do.
Yeah, it'll be fun.
This is Between the Breaks
Real talk, right between the breaks.
with Brooke Hunter and Kadie Daye.